I would say anyone who is in a position in the state of California who can utilize this tax exemption on any size of aircraft sale. There's no reason why you shouldn't take advantage of the tax exemption. And I don't know why you wouldn't hire a professional to walk you through this and provide the services that Tom and Julie have done for me and another person that I referred, and that person's happy. So I will absolutely refer Tom and Julie, Aero and Marine Tax Professionals, to my friends going forward. They prove them themselves, and I have a document from the state of California showing I don't have to pay $180,000, and that's in a frame. And it's a good letter. It was worth a 45-cent stamp. My name is Tom Greninger, and I own a company called WorldLink Aviation Services, LLC. WorldLink is a spinoff of a prior company I owned and sold, but I retain the aviation side of it, which is leasing and renting airplane hangars. And our largest client is the U.S. government, United States Department of Agriculture. I found Aero and Marine Tax Professionals when I was close to purchasing a Kodiak. And I had informed a good friend of mine of my potential purchase, and he has been involved with numerous aircraft purchases over the years. And he referred me to a gentleman who was going to put me in a dry lease agreement. The intent was to pay a sales tax on a monthly format, so that I didn't have to come up with a couple $100,000 to pay tax on a previously owned aircraft. I did reach out to that person. That person and I had a discussion that maybe this wasn't the best format for me, since my revenue stream was only from rental income, and that didn't really qualify me for a true business expense. He then informed me of the possibility of using a use tax exemption in the state of California, which I had trouble believing that California would let anybody out of a tax that might be due. So I was very leery of that. So that prompted me to get on the internet. And because everything on the internet is true, I stumbled across this guy named Tom Alston, and who did some videos which seemed to demonstrate he might know what was going on. And it kind of confirmed from a law firm that this was a viable option to not write a check for a couple $100,000 legally. And because I could utilize the airplane in some form of business along with personal, that I made a phone call to Aero and Marine Tax Professionals. Well, that was a funny call, to be honest with you. Once I saw his lovely demeanor and face on some of the videos, I put a call into him and we chatted. And he gave me some answers, and he asked me a question if I had enough information to make a decision. And I thought that was a fantastic close, since I'm in sales myself and have had many, many salesmen over the years attend sales seminars. But it kind of caught me off guard, and I just actually love that ability to try to make a close without being offensive. So I simply said, well, I actually don't have enough information. I will look into it. Called Tom back, answered my questions, and after about 3 phone calls, I was very comfortable that this firm knew what they were doing, and we signed up a contract, and the process began. The good news is I was turned over to a very professional person, someone that named Julie. And Julie, even though my wife's name is Julie, Julie was very different than my wife because she has 2 L's in her name. We started a fantastic relationship, which is why I'm was more than happy to refer her and Tom and his firm to another individual of mine who also had a good experience. And he had already started his journey down this road, but he had read the laws, and he had started the journey, but he wanted some help finalizing that. So he also hired Tom and Julie. When I was introduced to Julie, we went down a list of items and the necessary things to do to satisfy the state's exemption. That included making arrangements for picking the airplane up and having its first flight out of state. We arranged all of that. She took care of some of the introductions at the airport where we had to have a notary signed up. That was all handled when we landed. And we filled up with fuel, signed some papers, and we departed to my ranch property. And when we landed there, and then it was very clear we had to document numerous items, including its first entry into California, which we did. And after that, Julie was satisfied with what we did, so I got a gold star for that. And then we began the process of 6 months of utilizing the airplane for business and personal. As it turned out, I was a little surprised that I actually was using the airplane more for business and personal. So we documented every flight. We were good citizens. We had every flight documented with an email saying what the purpose of the visit was for, and the multiple locations, which for me is Utah and Montana, worked out quite well. And so every time I did a flight, I would send Julie the written form, and I think she cleaned that up and put that into a nice package for the state of California. So we continued this process, and then we were informed by Aero Marine Tax Professionals that we had submitted the documents, and away it went. About 2 weeks later, we got a email from Melinda on the staff, just basically saying the stuff has been submitted, it's under review. I got a second notice from Melinda saying basically the same thing, that she'd follow up in 2 more weeks. And so there I was in Hawaii with my family and grandkids, and having a nice time. And then my nice time got better when I opened up an email from Julie saying, "Congratulations, the state has accepted and given you a lifetime exemption for your use tax." And so that was a $180,000 letter. And quite honestly, I don't know if the word was shocked, but the fact that California had a provision allowing me to not pay a tax was pretty foreign to me. So it was a very good day, a very exciting day. We worked hard towards it, but we just followed what Julie had to do, and we responded. And when something wasn't just right, she would call me up. When I had questions, I would actually put in my email, "I know it's Sunday, do not call me back because you're probably having a good time somewhere." But she still made the effort and phone call to get back to me and answer the question I had before I forwarded the monthly report to her. So all in all, it was a fantastic experience. And I've already referred an individual who had purchased a used Cessna 414, like I said, was in the system of his own spreadsheets, but he did hire the folks at Aero Marine Tax Professionals, and he got his exemption before I did. But that cost him a steak at Morton's Steakhouse, and he was happy to pay it. Looking back, could I have done this on my own? The answer is maybe. I think the peace of mind, knowing we were going down the right road with Julie, the peace of mind was certainly worth the fee. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And I have, when I knew the person I referred to, Tom and Julie, hired them, I knew that I made a good decision, because he's a very, very detailed person and understands laws. But he still hired Tom and Julie to put the package together, finish up his deal, and do the submission. So I think the submission is probably the key part of this relationship. And so we were both very happy to have a relationship with Aero and Marine Tax Professionals. I think the peace of mind was fantastic. I do have another acquaintance, a friend who's a doctor, who purchased a $3 million Kodiak, and he's doing it himself. He told me some of the ways he was doing it, and I have doubts that this may go well. So we'll see how that winds up, but that's about a $350,000 hit that I truly believe he's going to probably take it. I mean, but whatever. What surprised me most about this service was just the constant follow-up when I needed something or a question. There was no hesitancy for me to call or send a quick email with a quick response. Julie was fantastic with that. Um, so just a peace of mind knowing that someone's watching over what's happening here. I didn't want to be in a position where I would be 6 months down the road having to rebuild the path that the airplane flew. And even with that said, even on a monthly basis, it was difficult to really remember with a logbook exactly what transpired, who I spoke with, why I was there. So it would have been difficult to try to rebuild the story as opposed to just telling the story as the story was unfolding. I guess one of the surprises I had with dealing with these folks was I truly had access to Tom and Julie at any moment, and got a return phone call within the hour. If the phone call couldn't be returned within the hour, I got a text saying I can't return the phone call this hour, but I will call you at X time, and she did. So yeah, I was surprised that this seemed like they were actually paying attention to what I needed.